This week we've been talking about adding integers. Well, today we are going to start the subtracting integers. Let's go over a few things that we've talked about this week. Yesterday we talked about additive inverses. And we talked about this means to add the opposite. So if we're adding the opposite, if we have 2 and we add -2, we will get 0. Another way to refer to additive inverses is 0 pairs. Zero pairs means that 2 chips equal 0. So for instance, if I have -1 and I have +1, then they equal 0. So really they're not there. This is very important to remember while we're doing subtracting integers. Remember, integers are whole numbers that are positive or negative, and it also includes 0. Whole numbers that are positive or negative, and it also includes 0. So keep that in mind. Additive inverse is adding the opposite. So the opposite of 2 would be -2, which would equal 0. And another way to refer to that is 0 pairs. -1 plus +1 equals 0. So they're there, but they're not. Okay, so let's get started on today's lesson. Again, subtraction is a little bit different than adding. It's a little bit more confusing, so it's going to take us some time to learn about subtracting, and we'll work on it today and tomorrow. So please don't get discouraged if you don't understand the first time. I still have to think about it year to year to remember how to do it, so don't get discouraged. Okay, so let's start with something simple, like 3 minus 2. Again, this is not a negative sign. This is a subtraction sign. So this really says +3 minus +2. And I'm going to move that over just a little bit just to help us visualize. What is this really saying? +2. So we're going to model this the same way we would have modeled it if this was addition. So I have +3, so that means I need 3 yellow counters. And it says -2. So I need to take away 2 positive counters. So this one was quite easy. I just take away those 2 positive counters, and my answer is +1. That one was easy. It gets harder. Okay, so let me erase this. What if we have -3 minus -1? That looks a little bit different, doesn't it? So let's set it up. What does it say to do? It says -3, 1, 2, 3, and it wants me to take away -1. So that looked kind of scary, but it really wasn't. So, because I have 3 negative counters here, and I can take away 1 negative counter, and that leaves me with -2 as the answer. Well, that seemed kind of easy, right? It gets harder. So let's try another one. The main thing is thinking about what is it saying and what kind of counters do I need. So let's do one that's a little harder. Let's do 5 minus -3. That doesn't look too hard, does it? Well, let's talk about what does this really say. This says positive 5 minus negative 3. So let's model that. So if I have positive 5 and it wants me to take away 3 negatives, I don't have any negatives, do I? There's no negatives here for me to take away. So how could I get that negative? Well, the way to get that is to make 3 not additive inverses, 3 C's of 0. So if I have 5 yellows and I need to take away 3 negatives, then I can add these 3 negatives and they need to be 0 pairs. Why, Miss G? Why do we need 0 pairs? Did I change what my model says? No, I didn't. It still says positive 5. And remember, this is a negative 1 and a positive 1, so it equals 0. This is a negative 1 and a positive 1, so it equals 0. And this is a negative 1 and a positive 1, so it also equals 0. So I still really only have positive 5 on my board. But when I see these 0 pairs, remember they equal 0, it gives me what I need to take away. I need to take away negative 3. So I can take away negative 3 now, and I'm left with positive 8. Positive 8. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, what? What? I know. Just give it a second to sink in. Let's try another one. So let's try 7 minus negative 2. Let's talk about what this really says. This says positive 7 minus negative 2, or take away negative 2. So let's lay this out. We have positive 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have positive 7, and this is telling me to take away negative 2, or take away 2 reds. I don't have any reds, do I? No, I don't. So I have to add 2 0 pairs. Remember, 0 pairs equal 0, so you're not changing what's on your board. So if I add a 0 pair, I need to add a red and a yellow. And I need to add another 0 pair, a red and a yellow. So I had positive 7, and I needed 2 reds. I needed 2 negatives. So I had to add 2 0 pairs because they really equal 0. Negative and a positive equals 0. Negative 1, positive 1 equals 0. Now I can do what my problem says to do. I have positive 7, and I need to take away negative 2. So I'm going to take these 2 negatives away. Now all of my pieces are the same color. So that means I can cross that equal just like we've been doing. So that means that when I cross the equal, push them across, I'm left with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and my answer is positive 9. I told you it was going to get harder, and it takes a minute to wrap your brain around it. Just keep practicing with me. Let's try another one. Let's try negative 5 minus 3. First of all, what does this actually say? It actually says negative 5 minus positive 3. Let's set that up. So if I have negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 reds because that is negative 5. And this is telling me to take away 3 yellows or 3 positives. I don't have 3 positives to take away. So I need to add something to my board that still gives me negative 5, but it also gives me some positive counters to take away. So I'm going to add 3 0 pairs. So a 0 pair is a positive and a negative. Positive, negative. Positive, negative. Again, this equals 0. Positive 1, negative 1 equals 0. So it's really not there. Positive 1, negative 1 equals 0. Not there. Positive 1, negative 1 equals 0. So now I'm going to go back to my problem. It says negative 5, take away positive 3. So if I take away these 3 positives, I now have all the same color. And when I have all the same color, that means I can combine these and push them across. And now this is my answer. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 reds is negative 8. My answer is negative 8. Let's try another one. Let's try negative 10 minus 2 equals. What does this really say? This really says negative 2 minus positive 2. So I'm going to do negative 10, which would be 10 reds. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, I have negative 10. I've checked my problem, negative 10. I need to take away positive 2. I don't have positive 2, so I have to get my 0 pairs. So I have positive 1, negative 1. Positive 1, negative 1. Again, these 0 pairs equal 0. So I still only have negative 10 on my board. But now I can take away positive 2. So negative 10 minus positive 2, I take away my positive 2. Now all of my counters are the same color, and I can combine them, and they can cross that equal sign. So I'm just going to move these down here so I can count them easier. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and my counters are red, so I have negative 12 is my answer. Let's try one more, and then I'm going to let you practice for yourself. And I hope you're doing this along with me because it's easier to do when you're doing it with me. And I'm trying to go slow enough for you to do it with me. Let's do -3 minus -1. What does this say? It says -3 minus -1. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. It says to take away -1. Do I have a -1 to take away? I do. So I don't need 0 pairs for this one. I just need to take away a -1. So if I take that -1 away, I'm left with 2 counters that are the same color. They can cross to the equal side, and my answer is -2. I know this is a little confusing. You will get it if you'll keep practicing. I'm going to give you some practice problems, and I'm going to give you a slide like I've given you the other 2 days, like a show me your work so I can see how you're modeling. And we'll be working on this Thursday and Friday also. So don't get discouraged. And if you need to rewatch this video so you can understand what you're doing, please don't hesitate to do that. Good luck.